The pasta angels are back. You all love my Grammy's pasta angel ornaments so much that I wasn't really ready to put the pasta away, and I made a Valentine's Day version. We have the Angel of Love and Cupid. They make the perfect small gift or a fun Valentine's Day craft to do with your friends and family, and today I'm going to show you exactly how I made them. For my new viewers, I think you should know I have recently made a full detailed pasta angel tutorial, which I'll be referencing a lot today, and I'll be sure to put a link to that video in the description of this one. In today's video, I'll go over the highlights, but you might want to check out the original video for a deep dive into pasta tips and the paint process. I talk a lot about paint and glue in that video. But if not, don't worry, I'll still go over the most important parts here today, so let's get into it. Let's take a quick look at the materials. You'll need a 25mm wood bead, and this is important, it's the head, string if you're gonna hang it like an ornament, scissors and red felt or red paper, a gold fine tip paint pen for drawing on the face, toothpicks, which is kind of optional, we'll talk more about that later, 8mm heart bead for the arrow, which is also optional. You can also use the felt or red paper instead, but I like the beads. Paper towel, a varnish, any type of varnish, a gloss, satin, matte, and this is a paint-on one, but I usually use a spray-on one. These are the glues I use. I talk a bunch about glue in the other video, but it's mostly this white glue, and then a Gorilla Super Glue Gel is nice if you want a stronger hold, but I hate when it gets on my fingers. And then you'll need paint, a white paint, a red paint, and a gold paint, or just really whatever colors you want to use. For this project, I spray painted the angels with 2 coats, and then for the smaller pieces like the hearts and the bow, I did a mix of spray painting and hand painting. I talk about painting in depth in my other video and walk you through the entire process, so you might want to go check that out. But I will note, if you do hand paint the angels, make sure that you paint the bigger pieces before you glue it together, at least for a first coat. And then if you do want to try paint dipping, make sure that you use a stronger glue, at very least for her neck. And then a quick note, I've been making my Angels of Love without a halo. If you would like to add the halo, you just need to get some gold pipe cleaners. And if you like, you can watch my original video on how to attach it. And lastly, you'll need a cardboard box and a wire, which is mostly used for painting. And that's pretty much everything you need except for the pasta. So let's take a quick look at the pasta. And keep in mind, all of my pasta is from the brand Ditalini, unless I mention otherwise. You'll need Rotelle, which is a wagon wheel. This is gonna be the collar or the neck. You might have a hard time finding this one in store, but you can always order it online. This is Rigatoni, and it's used for the body. This is Farfalle, also known as bow tie pasta, and we use it for the wings. This is Elbo Macaroni, and we use it for the arms. This is from the brand Signature Select, but I do usually use the brand Ditalini. But Ditalini does run on the smaller side. You can see this is Ditalini right here. And for these angels, we definitely want to have some longer arms, especially if you're making the Cupid. So you are going to want to find a bigger brand of Elbo Macaroni, but it seems like a lot of brands were bigger than Ditalini. And then the hair is either Ditalini or Tubetti. I talk about these a lot in the other video, so you can go check that out. But the Ditalini is from the brand Granoro, and the Tubetti is from the brand Riscosa. And then we need to make some room for some new pasta that I got for these angels. I used a thin spaghetti, also known as spaghettini. You could probably use a normal size spaghetti, but I definitely wouldn't do a capellini or an angel hair because those would be way too thin and fragile. I used a thin spaghetti for the bow and arrow. I like the idea of keeping it all pasta, but you don't have to use that. You could actually also do a toothpick. And I think I actually might like the toothpick better because when you go to paint them, you're gonna have to paint the pasta to seal it, and you can just leave the toothpick raw. And I think I might like this look better. But same goes for the arrows. Here's the arrow with a toothpick. You can also do it with a spaghetti, but you're gonna have to paint this or seal it somehow, and it didn't fit as well into the heart bead. The toothpick was a lot easier to work with, so I think I'm gonna do toothpick arrows. It's totally your call. You can use a toothpick or spaghetti, but if you do use a toothpick, you might not even need to buy spaghetti. So just keep that in mind. And then of course, the heart pastas. I got mine at Trader Joe's, but I think there's a lot of brands that carry the same ones. And that's it. Now let's jump into making them. So now it's time to make our angel, and I have pre-glued all of my pieces because the glue does take some time to dry. So So the angel might look a little bit different at each step. We're gonna start with our bead and our wagon wheel. I'm gonna take my glue and apply it directly to the bead. Then I take my wagon wheel, and for this brand, there's always like a bumpy side and a flat side. I like to attach the bumpy side directly to the bead. And then I flip it over onto a hard flat surface. My table isn't very flat, so I'm using my ravioli plate. And then I line it up how I like and let that dry. Once it's dry, it's time to attach the rigatoni. So I grab my glue and I'll apply it directly to the rigatoni. Then I'll place it onto the wagon wheel just like this. I'll make any adjustments and then wait for the glue to dry. Once that dries, it's time to attach the bow tie pasta. If you're using a narrow piece of rigatoni, there's gonna be a narrow side and a wide side. It doesn't really apply if you have a round one, but if you do have a narrow one, the way you place the wings will either be at the wide side or the narrow side, and this kind of impacts the arms. I'll show you. This one has a wide rigatoni, so her arms are a little bit further apart, but this one is narrow and her arms are closer together. So where the heart sits is a little bit different. Since this one has arms further apart, the heart goes a little bit lower, but it's just something I noticed. It's not a big deal. I just thought I'd point it out. Okay, so let's glue this on. Now, the bow tie pasta should have two sides depending on your brand. This is the side I like facing out, and I like to take this side that's pinched together and glue it to the angel. So I'm gonna grab my glue and attach it right here. And then we'll do the wide side. So when I place it down, the bead's heavy and it kind of falls forward. This is when I grab a paper towel and fold it to kind of lift the head up and hold it into place. Then I'll make any final adjustments and let it dry. Make sure the wings are dry, and then it's time to add the hair. If you're gonna be hanging your angel on a tree or anywhere, you're gonna use the hair to kind of loop the string in. I like to place one either at the front or the back. I think the front might be a little bit better because it doesn't fall forward as much, but you could really do either. So I put a little piece of glue and then put one right on like that. Or we can do it at the back, like I said. Now, I would keep working the Ditalini all the way around the head. Just make sure that you don't put Ditalini too close to the one you'll be attaching the string through, because you want to make sure that there's space for the string. However, I did the Ditalini in the last video, so this one we're actually going to do the Tubetti. I'm just going to take these off. So let me get my Tubetti. If you want to watch me attach the Ditalini, you can go check out the other video. Okay, so for the Ditalini, I kind of do a bunch at once. So I'll just like do an area full of glue and start attaching the Tubetti. And then I just keep working all the way around the head. Now, I like to make sure that her hairline doesn't go too high, because if there's too much space here, it makes it kind of awkward when we're drawing on the face. So definitely want to make sure to bring that down. And there we go. Now, if you're going to be hanging her on a Christmas tree or somewhere, you're going to want to add on an extra little Tubetti on the top that you can put the string through. So let's do that. Then we let this dry and go on to the next steps. So now it's time to attach the arms, and this is when we have to decide if we're making an angel of love or a Cupid. I'm gonna start with the angel of love. You can see I have two versions right here. This one has the arms inside of the heart, and this one has the arms on the outside of the heart. This one right here is actually the exact same songbook angel that I made in my original video. It just has a heart right here instead of a songbook. So you can go watch that, and it's made exactly the same way. This one I think is cute because when it holds the heart, it kind of pushes it out like that, which I don't know. I just think it's cute. If you are gonna make this angel, make sure that the arms are close enough together to hold the heart before they fully dry. Now, I'm gonna save the gluing for when we make the Cupid, but I just wanna show you the arms right here. So you're gonna place them on either side and then have them going out like that. And then like I mentioned before, you can have narrow arms or wide arms. You can have them kind of facing up or down. You can really place them however you want. Just check how the heart fits with your placement. For this one, position them the same exact way, but then push them together so they're close enough to fit the heart around them. And then definitely double check that the hands fit inside the heart before it fully dries. So once you've attached the arms and the glue is fully dried, like at least 24 hours later, because you want to make sure the glue is fully cured, it's time to paint your angel. So like I mentioned, for these ones, I did spray paint, and you do at least 2 coats. I definitely recommend you go check out my original video where I talk about all the options for painting and like walk you through the entire process and share all my tips. But if you feel confident, I guess just go ahead and paint your angel. While your angel is drying, you can go ahead and paint the hearts too. Mine came in 2 colors. It did come in this red, so I thought maybe that I could just varnish it. But the varnish kind of just like made it this lighter color, and I really didn't like that, so I decided just to paint the heart red. I tried both spray painting and hand painting. For the spray paint, I just like put it down and spray painted it and then flipped it once it's dry and did it again. I do actually think I preferred doing the hand painting for this one, which is wild because in my last video I talk about how much I just don't like hand painting these. But it was a little bit messy, but I really did like the paint I used, which was this paint right here. It covered it pretty well in just like 1 coat. So I don't know, I think moving forward I would just hand paint these ones. So once the paint on your angel is dry, you're gonna draw on the face, which I'm not gonna do right now. I'll show you when I make the Cupid. And then you're gonna glue the heart on if you want. Now, my hearts are obviously just floating right now. You can leave them like that, but I think I'm gonna glue them down. So I'm just gonna put, ooh, that's a lot of glue. So I'm gonna put some glue on her hands and then put her heart right on top. And then the same for this one, just put glue on her hands where it touches the heart. And then once the glue is dried, it's time to apply the varnish. You wanna make sure you do so in very light coats, and this helps protect the piece and seal it. And then once that's dry, you're done. Well, pretty much at least. You can add a string to the top or even a little halo if you want. But if that's something you want to watch me do and walk you through, you can go check out my original video. So now it's time to make the Cupid, and we're gonna start by attaching the arms. You wanna start with 2 pieces of macaroni that are similar size and shape. I like picking through the box and finding the larger ones. And definitely use a larger brand, at least larger than Ditalini for the Cupid. So we're gonna glue the macaroni onto the angel like it's giving a big air hug, just like this. One thing I should point out about the macaroni, and I don't think this is for all of the brands, but this one, the Signature Select one, there is a flat side of the noodle and then a pointed side. I attach the flat side to the body, and then the pointed side is the hands. So when you're applying the glue, make sure that you put it on the flat side, if your noodles are like this. So grab your macaroni and apply some glue. This is hard to do on camera. And then I'm gonna just kind of attach it to the angel. I'm gonna add some glue actually onto the angel into that same spot, just so there's a little bit more. So because of how they're positioned, they do like to fall. So to help support it, you might have to hold it there for a moment while the glue gets tacky and can hold it a little bit better on its own. You can try using the super glue. It might work a little bit better, but I don't know. I just stick with the white glue. That's so fragile right now. I'm scared to move it. And then I'm gonna do the same on the other side. So now let's do the second arm. I'm gonna do a little dot right here where we'll be placing the arm. And then I put a little bit of glue on the flat side. Attach the second arm and kind of hold it there while the glue gets tacky. I don't have the arms paralleled like this. I do kind of turn them down so the hands are a little bit lower than, I guess, the armpit. Now, once the arms are balanced on the angel, I'll let it sit and dry, but definitely check the arms before it fully dries because sometimes they'll fall down and you can kind of just still push them back up while it's still tacky. Once the arms are dried, it's time to paint the angel. And again, you can go ahead and check out my original video for more details about the paint process. So I spray paint my angels and this is the one we'll be working on today, but I'm super bummed because it cracked. It's been really hot in January, even for California, and I left it in my studio overnight and my studio gets pretty hot. So I think that's what's happened. This piece is not varnished. I don't know if the varnish would protect it a little bit better, but I think what I would do is glue the crack and glue it again and then spray paint over that one more time. But we don't have time for that. The show must go on. I need to keep filming. So we're gonna work with a cracked angel. So once the paint is fully dry and you've done all your coats, it's time to attach the bow. Now I'm gonna show you how to make the bows, and remember you can do a full pasta bow with thin spaghetti as the bowstring, or you can make one that has a toothpick bowstring. The thin spaghetti and the toothpick are very similar in size, so I don't think it makes that much of a difference. The only thing is if you'd wanna leave the bowstring raw, you can't really do that with the spaghetti because you'll have to seal it and protect it, but you might prefer the bow fully covered in paint anyways, So I originally spray painted the bows white and I realized I shouldn't do that because there wasn't enough contrast. So then I decided to paint them gold. And I really loved the gold color, but I was hand painted them and I hated hand painting them. I definitely wouldn't recommend that. I did not enjoy it. If you have the option to spray paint, definitely do that. To spray paint the bow, I would lay it flat and do one side, and once it was dry, flip it over and spray paint the other side. So just like before, I find 2 pieces of Elbo Macaroni that are a similar size and shape, and then we're gonna glue them together. I do like finding like the larger or a medium size out of the box. As you can see, I've done a lot of different size and shapes. And this might only apply to the Signature Select brand I'm using. There is a flat side and a pointed side, and we're gonna be gluing the flat sides together, but your macaroni might not be like that. So I like grabbing a little bit of plastic. This is just like a takeout lid. And then I'm gonna place them on this after I glue them together because sometimes it gets like stuck to the surface and it's easier to pull them off of this. So I'm gonna grab my glue and put it onto one side of the macaroni right here. And then I'm gonna just push them together. So I like to make sure these edges right here are lined up. I'm trying to turn it so you can see it on the camera straight. But I also wanna make sure that the outside edges right here come down lower than the center for when we apply the string. So I'm just gonna kinda tweak it a little bit and push it so those are lower. I can show you better on this one. But see how these edges are lower than the center? That's important for when you're adding the bowstring. So I'll let this sit and dry, but before it's fully dry, I will move it from where it's sitting just so the glue doesn't harden onto the plastic. But that's it for now. So once it's fully dry, it's either time to spray paint it or add the bowstring. If you are spray painting the piece, which I think is so much easier than hand painting, and you do want this bowstring to be raw, definitely spray paint it before you attach the bowstring. So if you're doing that, go ahead and spray paint it now. Otherwise, if you're spray painting and you don't mind it being fully gold, then you can wait till after. But against my better judgment, I'm not spray painting, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach the bowstring right now. So I'm gonna use a toothpick and my scissors. Process is exactly the same if you're using the thin spaghetti. The spaghetti is actually easier to cut, but it's also easier to break, so keep that in mind. So for this, I like to take my scissors and cut off the tip part of it, if it will let me. Uh-oh, scissors are not cooperating. And then I kind of just like size it up. And you could use a pen to draw a line, probably would be more efficient. but I just kind of use my fingers and then cut it down. The toothpick goes flying. It's pretty close. It usually is a little bit longer, but I don't mind that because then I just kind of trim it down a little bit. Let's see, that might not be enough. Almost. Yeah, that works. So I'm gonna grab my plastic tray again. Let's see, I said to move these, so there you go, it's not sticking. And then I'm gonna grab my glue. And then I just put the glue into the ends like this. And then attach this stick. And there we go, then I let that dry. And then once it's dry, it's time to paint it. Like I said, I think spray painting's easier, but just remember if you do it at this point, it's probably gonna be fully covered. But I actually hand painted these with this paint right here. I had a hard time finding a gold paint I liked, and I didn't mind this one. But I would just take a brush and hand paint these parts, and then I would hang it on a hook in my cardboard box while it dried. But that's it. That's how we make this cute little bow for our Cupid. Now we need to make the arrow. So to make the arrows, you're gonna need toothpicks. I ended up not doing it with spaghetti, but you can still try that if you want. I actually have two different types of toothpicks. There's this one, like your classic toothpick, but I also have these vintage toothpicks that I got from my Auntie Em, who's actually my Grammy's sister, so I thought it'd be fun to use these for this project. But I've been doing both. This one's like the normal everyday toothpick, and this is the vintage one. The vintage one's just a teeny bit smaller. It's actually what I put on my Cupid, but you know, either works. Then I also used an 8mm red bead for the arrowhead, and then felt for the, I don't know what this is called, the tail? I have to look that up. I just looked it up, it's called the knock. So we have the arrowhead and the knock. I'm learning this live. But the knock is just felt. You don't necessarily have to get the red bead. I just thought it was cute, but you could probably just use felt. I would cut 2 hearts out of the felt and then kind of sandwich the toothpick together to make the little arrowhead. I think alternatively, if you don't have red felt, red paper would work well too, but I haven't tried that. So if you do that, let me know how it goes. So I have my everyday basic toothpick and my red bead, and I just take the pointy end and put it into the bead. Except I want it to be more secure than that, so we're actually gonna glue it. So there's the bead hole, and then I just put a little bit of glue right on top of it, and then grab my toothpick and push it back in. Sometimes I'll take a paper towel and wipe up the excess, but I don't think that's fully necessary because it does dry clear. So now I'll set it down and let it dry. Now we need to do the end of the arrow, and this might be my least favorite part. I don't know why, but I have such like a hard time cutting it. But just take your felt and just kind of cut a little strip of it off. Wow, so it's really hard to do on camera. Not bad though. This end's a little bit more even. So I'll also kind of like check the width to make sure the strip I cut is the right size, and that looks pretty good. Okay, let's hope I don't mess this up. It's so hard to see. Okay, so then I'll take my scissors, and we just kind of want to cut a triangle. So I'll show you how I'm kind of cutting like this. I guess I could just cut it off like that. Sometimes I try to just do the triangle while I'm cutting. But then I gotta do the other side and kind of even it out. Not bad. Okay, then we need to do the bottom. This is so hard to do on the table. And so I'll kind of, okay. And then we have to cut another triangle out of the bottom. That was a little bit deeper than I wanted. So I just do like that one side. And I don't go all the way through like that. And then I flip it over and do the other side. Oh no. I'm sorry, but this is so hard to do on the camera. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. And then if this like bottom part right here, the triangle I just cut, isn't coming out, I'll just keep kind of like cutting until it does. There we go. Not terrible. Cute, except this is way too long. I almost forgot a step. We need to cut the arrow down so it's not too long for the Cupid. You can kind of like hold it up to the Cupid to kind of size it to see how far you want your arrow to come out. I just grabbed a ruler so we can see how long I've been making them. Yeah, so like just a little bit over an inch. So I'm gonna take this. There. Now I've cut down my arrow. And then to attach this, I grab my glue again. And I kind of want to just put glue onto the toothpick, just kind of the length of the felt. Oops. A little bit more glue than I wanted. I kind of bring the glue down the felt in case I didn't do it long enough. And then just put it back. And let that dry. There you go. That's what it looks like. So once that's dry and everything is painted, we'll go ahead and attach it to our Cupid. So before we glue our bow to our Cupid, we need to draw his face. And that always makes me so nervous, especially when we're doing it on camera. I feel like I have this face down and I want to do that again, but I think Cupid should have a little bit of a smile. So we're gonna try to do that. Okay, here I go. Wish me luck. Okay, the smile's a little bit shaky, but it's cute. So you're gonna wanna wait for the face to dry before attaching the bow, or just be very careful not to touch it, like I'm gonna do right now, because I gotta keep going. So I'm gonna attach this center part of the bow to their hand right here. And then I have the bowstring kind of touching on this hand, or you could flip it the opposite way, it doesn't matter. So I kind of place that part right on top of the hand, and then you can just have them both on top, or you can kind of angle it back so it's like the hand is kind of grabbing the bowstring. Each piece is different, so it's going to be a little bit different how you attach the bow. I think I'm going to use the Gorilla Glue to attach the bow. The white glue is probably fine, but I think it might be nice to be a little bit stronger because it is such just like a teeny contact point. And I have this one. I like the smaller one because it has a better tip, but it should be the same glue. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of glue on top of the hand right here. And then on the other side, a little bit as well. Take my bow and kind of place it how I like it. I like it a little bit angled like that. And then I'll just kind of hold it there until it kind of feels firm and I can let it go without it falling off. Now I'll wait for that to dry and then it's time to add the arrow. I almost forgot, before you attach your arrow, you can go ahead and varnish your piece. The arrow doesn't have any paint on it, so it doesn't need to be varnished. And when you do apply the varnish, make sure you do it in light coats. You also have the option to varnish the angel and the bow separately, but I kind of like doing it when it's all together, especially if I'm using a spray varnish. So now we're gonna attach the arrow, and this is the arrow we just made, and I'm actually not going to use that because it turned out I made it a little too long. You'll see with my original one, it's a little bit shorter, and I think the shorter one is a better fit. Like, I don't know, I think that's too long, but it's okay, I have two, so we're just gonna attach this one. So to attach it on my previous one, I did use the white glue, but I had to hold it there for a while and it was kept like falling down and really wait for that glue to get tacky. So it might be a little bit easier if we use the Gorilla Glue again. So I'm gonna try that this time. So let's practice and line it up. That's cute. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue right here where the arrow goes, and then right where it touches over here. And I'm just gonna hold it there while the glue gets tacky and until it's hard enough to kind of hold itself in position. cute. Our little Cupid. I know this is Cupid for Valentine's Day, but my Grammy's original angels were Christmas tree ornaments, so we are gonna add some string. So since I used the Tubetti, I have this little extra one on top, and I'm just gonna push my string through it. Then I take the two ends and kind of just tie them into a knot. And then I kind of find a distance I like for the loop. I never know how big to make them. That feels good, I think. And then I'm gonna tie them in a knot again. Actually, I'm gonna cut this string, so there we go. And then I'm gonna tie them in a knot again so we kind of hold our spot. And then pull all 4 of these strings. So now I have this knot up here, and I'm gonna cut the ends off. And now this is a little bit harder because the Tubetti is smaller than the Ditalini, but I'm gonna put this knot inside of this Tubetti. So I'm just gonna kind of twist it around until it goes inside of it. And then I like to add a little bit of glue just so it holds it in the correct spot. Maybe on this side too. And there we go. Now he's ready for Christmas next year. And that's it. Now you know how to make your Cupid and your angel of love. Thank you so much for everyone's engagement with all my little pasta angels. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was easy to follow along, and you have a happy Valentine's Day.